There is not great talent without great willpower. That is a quote by Honore de Balzac.
Welcome to Trina Talk. Trina Talk is a weekly podcast that will inspire and empower women of all ages to strive for the impossible. Your host, Trina L. Martin from TrinaMartin.com, is a motivational speaker, leader, and cyber tech expert. Every week, Trina will share wisdom gained from her life experiences and lessons learned while pursuing her goals to inspire you to achieve the next level in your life. Now, your host, Trina L. Martin.
Hello, and welcome to Trina Talk. I'm your host, Trina L. Martin, and this is episode 23. The topic this week is Game On. My guest this week is Nicole Smith. Nicole is the author of the book Game On. She's a speaker and professional cheerleader. This week, Nicole shares with me her resilience and her dedication to becoming a professional cheerleader for a sports team. The interview was very informative. I've learned some things about cheerleaders and view them in a different light than what I had before. So sit back and enjoy the interview with Nicole. Hi, Nicole. Welcome to Trina Talk.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with me today. So, at Trina Talk, we are all about inspiring and motivating other women to achieve the next level in their lives. And just looking at your bio, you have done some amazing things. Why don't you just start off just giving us a quick synopsis of who you are and where you're going?
Okay. So let's see. My name is Nicole, and I currently, let's see, all the things that I'm doing. Well, so let me just put it this way. My 9 to 5 right now is I work for a performing arts theater managing 300 volunteers and interns. So I'm in a place where I'm having the opportunity to inspire people a lot on a daily basis, especially our interns who are getting ready to make that jump into the career world, and having that opportunity to just inspire them and get them ready. So what I would do on the side, what used to be my little, I'm just doing this on the side for fun, is I would dance. I'm a dancer at heart. My family is from Central America. We're from Panama. So we grew up in the house dancing. That's just what we did. So dance is something that I'm absolutely passionate about. So I would take dance classes and go to dance auditions because it was my escape when my 9 to 5 wasn't amazing. I absolutely love my job right now, but back in the day, that wasn't the case. So after a really stressful day, I would look forward to going home and going to dance class, those kinds of things. And I was so passionate about dance and absolutely loved it. And one day, I used to work at a radio station, and I had gone, they had tickets to go to a football game, and I was like, oh, let me go to this football game. And I saw these, professional cheerleaders on the sideline, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could do that. Clearly, I had no idea. First of all, I want to say that people do not give professional cheerleaders the credit that is deserved, because there is a lot of hard work that goes into it that people don't see, and they just make it look so easy on the sidelines. So I was like, oh, that's something I could do. So I went to an audition and absolutely fell in love with it. So ever since then, I've just been auditioning and trying to get on dance teams and dancing on the sidelines and raising my daughter by myself and just trying to be an example to her of not, for the lack of better words, not having to rely on somebody else to make ends meet, and just showing her what hard work and what a good work ethic is, and hoping that she sees my example and puts some of those things in her life, and that she takes it forward, because she's actually 21 and she's going to school at Tuskegee University. So I'm very proud of her, and she's pressing through, and just that's kind of where we are right now. So going through the audition process, I wasn't a trained dancer, so I got cut a lot from auditions. But then every time I got cut, I learned something from it. I came back stronger. But I started watching a lot of the girls, and they would get absolutely, just torn up and just devastated. And it bothered me so much. And I just really wanted to encourage them. So I wrote a book about it, just kind of like, hey, you might get cut, but it's okay. You can get back up and you can try again. And then what happened is it transitioned from not just dance auditions, but just life in general, I would have a lot of friends that would come up to me, like, oh, well, I want to do this, or I want to do that, but I'm a single mom and I can't do this, or the kids, I can't do this, or they would always come up with some reason. And I would just be like, look, if it's something that you want to do, you just have to make it happen. You can figure a way, find a way around it, but don't let an excuse keep you from your destiny, because no excuse should ever be that powerful.
That is so good, because I also believe in fulfilling my destiny, and that's what I think I'm headed doing on this path here.
Uh-huh.
But I, like you, I am a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
And your daughter goes to Tuskegee. I am a graduate of HBCU as well.
Okay.
So go Tuskegee, and I actually went to I was in Alabama when I went to college too. So
okay.
But let's go back and talk about you wanting to be a professional cheerleader.
Okay.
And you said you got cut a lot. You weren't formally trained.
Yes.
How did you accept the rejection, but you kept going? Because it sounded like you took it in stride, and you didn't let it get you down, or did you? And how did you overcome that?
So, the very first time, I didn't take it in stride at all. I didn't understand it. I was, to be honest, I was just as devastated as those other girls. I cried for like a week. And, when you're getting ready for auditions, you're on this like special diet. You're not eating anything but like rabbit food, like carrots and lettuce, like for 6 months. Like that's all you're eating. And after I got cut, I was like, screw it, I'm eating everything. So I was eating like McDonald's cheeseburgers and pizza, and, that's like one day. And then, cake and anything that I wanted, which eventually made me feel even worse, because by the end of the week I had eaten all this crap, and now I just felt gross on the inside. But it was hard. It was very, very hard, because you go in there, and I honestly I left it all on the floor. I did the best that I could. I nailed all the routines. My kicks were past my face. I did everything well. And to get cut and sent home, it was mind blowing. It was just like, what do you mean 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4? If you do all of this, if you do this and this and this and this and this, that should all equal making the team. But it didn't, because I had a lesson to learn, which is it's very subjective, and it just depends on what they're looking for that year. So you could dance circles around the girl next to you, be 10 times better, but if they needed a 5'8" girl and you were only 5'2", they might take the 5'8" girl who can only do one turn where you could do 4, because they needed a 5'8" girl on the team. It had nothing to do with how many turns you could do. So it was absolutely devastating. But it got to the point where it developed in me this passion. I was like, but this is something that I really, really want to do. And I just kept getting back up and going again. And it got easier over the years, but it was never easy. I mean, they call them audition cuts for a reason. That junk hurts, and it's like, you don't understand it and you don't get it. But with every time I went back, I learned something new about myself. I became a better dancer because of it. I learned how to present myself in front of people. I mean, now, I tell people, like, after you go through an audition, when you're absolutely prepared for it, by the time you're done, you can walk into the boardroom and know how to work the room, because they prepare you. And this is one of the things that I love about that whole scene of professional cheerleading, because there's just so much. I may have never made an NFL team. I've made other teams. I may have never made NFL, but through the process, I've learned how to really style my hair in such a way that really looks great on me. I've learned how to put my makeup on, because I'm not a makeup person. Like, I'm the type of person, I would rather sleep in an extra 20 minutes than try to put makeup on. Like, that's just not me. I treasure my sleep much more than putting makeup on. But it forced me to learn to find colors and things that work well on me, so that now when I have events that I have to present myself at work, I know how to do my hair. I know how to do my makeup. I know how to talk in front of a crowd. Because let me tell you, when you can stand in front of 15 to 20 people who are literally judging you while you're standing half naked, boardroom is nothing. You're good. I mean, after that, you can knock out anything. So, I mean, people are like literally judging you. So you learn to get comfortable in that kind of setting. You learn how to, you learn how to communicate. You learn how to talk with people. You learn how to make eye contact. All of these amazing, amazing things that had come out of it. So just by the time after all the auditions, but I just became so much better as a person. I may have never made the NFL team, but my personal growth went throughout the door, and there's nothing that anybody could ever do to take that back from me. And I use that in my everyday life, in my job, when I have to talk in front of VPs, when I have to make presentations in front of large groups of people, in front of my peers at work. That those are the things that I've learned, that now I can walk into a room, and yes, you're going to have your nerves, because, people are looking at you, and who doesn't have those nerves, but I can still walk in with confidence because of all those lessons that I learned on the field and preparing for auditions.
So how long did it take you to realize that the rejections had lessons attached to them?
It took a while. I would say, because I auditioned for my first team in 2000, and this just makes me feel like so old when I say it out loud. Man, I auditioned for, no, not 2000. I auditioned for my first team in 2002, and it's now 2019. So that's what, like 17 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a long time. So it took some time. It really did. And usually where it really started kicking in was after the third try. It was really after the third try, because the first time you go and they're like, hey, if you didn't make it, we really want you to come back and try again. Next year might be your year. And then you go back and you try again, and you're like, okay, I didn't make it this year. Let me try it after the third. A lot of girls after the third or fourth try, they're like, that's it. I'm done. I'm good. I'm not going back. That's when I started noticing after like the third or fourth time that they would just start giving up. And I was like, but this is your dream. And if you're passionate about this and this makes you happy, how are you going to let somebody else's no determine and affect the rest of your life? They just say no and go home and go on about their lives. And you are crushed and devastated. And the course of your life has changed forever because of one no that they gave you. I was like, no, I'm not going to allow somebody to have that much power over me. At the very least, maybe I'll try out for a different team. Maybe I'll try out for a different team in a different state. Just whatever it was, I was going to find a way to get on some team somewhere. But it did. It took a while, because it's almost like literally getting punched in the stomach. And, you lose your breath. And you sit there and you think about it for a while, and you're like, what did I do to put myself in this position to get kicked in the stomach? And then you're like, do I want to put myself in that same position with the possibility of it happening again? That takes a brave person. But what happens is you learn how to duck. You learn how to, when you know that kick is coming or when that punch is coming, you know how to from that movie like Matrix, you know how to wave it back and miss it. to where you're not getting hit the same way. It's not affecting you the same way. And you know different things to improve differently to make sure that whenever you go, it lessens the chance of that punch. And then, you know, just the more you get hit, the stronger it becomes, the stronger you build a tolerance to it. And it just begins to, I'm at the point now where I take strength from it as opposed to anything else. But it did take a while. Do not let me lie to you, because those first couple of cuts were real. The wounds were deep. You know, I didn't talk to anybody for like 3 days. Don't even mention the word cheerleading. Like, you know, it hurt. It hurt bad. But just like everything else, wounds tend to heal, and you kind of forget it. It's kind of like childbirth, right? Mm-hmm. That jump hurt when that kid was coming out. Like my kid, I remember where her forehead. I will never forget that moment in my life. But then, you know, 2 months later, you're like, oh my gosh, I have this precious baby. And then people are like, oh, I want another one. And like, girl, don't you remember what that felt like? I mean, come on. But I kind of equate it to childbirth. You know, it's one of those things that hurts, but you forget about it because you end up seeing what the benefits can be, and you pull on the benefits instead.
Wow, that is such a great story. And I just have to ask, where are you located?
Right now I live in Miami, Florida.
Okay. Because I was thinking it had to be a place that has a big sports team for you to want to do cheerleading. Because I'm in Texas. So I was like, is she in Dallas?
Well, no, but you know, so in my book, I talk about my very first pro team that I made was in Houston, though.
Oh, really?
It was. So it wasn't for the NFL, though. It was back in the day when MLS, when Major League Soccer, when the league first started, they did have cheerleaders, but eventually, I think after 5 or 6 years, they, the league just kind of got rid of them across the board. It might have been even a little bit longer than that. But when they did have them, that was the team that I made. It was a pro team, but for Major League Soccer.
Okay. Now, aside from your dancing, and I would assume, correct me if I'm wrong, that the lessons that you learned from trying out for cheerleading team, pro teams, led you to become a motivational speaker.
Yes, it was a direct connection. So I've been wanting to write a book and encourage people probably for the last 5 years, but I felt like I couldn't do it until I made an NFL team. Now, mind you, I've made other teams. I've been on 4 combination of either pro teams or semi-pro teams. So I've been on teams before, but I was just like, oh, nobody respects it unless it's NFL. So I just have to make NFL. Come to find out, unless you're in the cheerleading world, people don't know. They don't care. They just see cheerleaders. They're like, oh, cool. You know, they have no ideas. They are not paying attention like that. So I was like, well, I want to write this book, but I can't write the book until I become an NFL cheerleader. And then after like the last 3 years of getting cut, I was like, all right, there's a good chance I may never make it. Does that mean I can't write this book? So I had to sit down and think of, how can I make this happen? How can I do it anyway? Because it would really, really hurt me to see these girls at auditions. I mean, boo-hoo crying. I mean, like eyelashes are coming off, mascara is running because, you know, it's a lot of hard work. These girls train anywhere from 6 to 12 months getting prepared for these auditions. And it can, you know, the audition can last, you could train for a year and get cut within the first hour. I mean, it's painful. And to watch them leave and be devastated and get their self-worth mixed up in the fact that they got cut, it used to really hurt my feelings. And I was like, I need to be able to find a way to be able to talk to these girls and encourage them. And so that's kind of how the whole book came about. And then once the book came about, it was, you know, it started to expand much further than cheerleading. And that's why I called the the book Game On. And it's just like learning how to win in life, not just, in cheerleading. It's just in life, because being a single mom, like I would have people who would be like, how do you do it as a single mom? I'd be like, I don't know. You just get it done. And they're like, no, Nicole, because we know a lot of people who are single moms who aren't handling their business the same way you are. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that, because all I know is how to make it happen. And so I would just come across other single moms. I would come across especially like young girls who might be single parents at a younger age, because I became a single mom. Well, I was married when I had my daughter, but then we ended up getting divorced. So I was a single mom probably like around, 22. So I was young. And so my heart just goes out to girls who are younger, who feel like their life is over because they have this kid. And it's like, it's not true. It makes it a lot more difficult, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It doesn't mean that it can't happen. You just have to learn how to strategize and learn how to plan a little bit differently and learn how to you have to get really creative with how you do things. And I talk a little bit about that in the book, because not only, I made my first team at 32, but I made my first team at 32 as a single mom. So I talk about the different things of how I didn't want to sacrifice time with my daughter for the things that I had to do. So I would sometimes, depending on the team, I would take her to practice with me. Or I would go home and I would show her the routines. And it got to the point when she started getting older, she would learn the routines faster than I would, and she would critique me at home. So dance became our joint thing. That became our bond. That became what we grew together with. And to this day, now that she's 21, when she comes home from spring break and things like that, the first thing we'll do is go to a dance class, and we go in there and she's dancing, her kicks are higher than mine and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, oh my gosh, just stay off to the side just a little bit, let's try to, you make a mama look bad,
You're taking your thunder.
Yes. But I'd be like, that's okay. I'm 43, so whatever. So, but that was how I found time for us to bond, because even though it was important for me to pursue my passion, because if I wasn't pursuing who I was, it was going to negatively affect her. Because if I wasn't happy going after something that I wanted, I was eventually going to be unhappy myself. And that you end up, regardless if people want to admit it or not, you end up taking that out on your family members. And even if you don't take it out directly, they just see that you're unhappy. They just see that you're unfulfilled. And that just, it affects the environment. So, but by her seeing me happy, and this is what made me happy, that became what we bonded over. And, those are the things that I love to be able to go and talk to people about. Because in the book that I write, one of the very, very first things that I say is like, look, life is not fair. All right. So once you realize and understand that, now we can move on. Because if you're going to sit here and say, oh, but Sally had this and Johnny had that and I didn't have this, and then you're never going to get anywhere. Because everybody is not always dealt the same hand, but you just have to learn to play the hand that you have and learn to play it well. So that it doesn't matter what you didn't get, you can still win the game. You just have to learn to play on a different level. And so some of the things that I will tell people is, for every complaint that you come up, or every excuse that you come up with that says this is why you can't do it, there's somebody in this world who's doing it. There's people who are writing books who are paralyzed from the neck down. There are people running marathons whose legs have been amputated. So it's just a matter of, are you going to let your excuse be your roadblock, or are you going to figure out a way to get around it? Because really the choice is yours. There's nothing in this world that you can't do, unless, you're trying to be, like don't be unrealistic. Don't be like jumping off of cliffs and be like, oh, I'm going to fly, and you don't have like a parachute or something. But in terms of like, don't have like self-limiting goals and things, because literally, and I'm seeing these things all the time, like blind person climbs a mountain, and, there's just, the limitations are in our minds, because literally Everything that you can come up with an excuse with, somebody was dealt that same card. Somebody was dealt those same cards in life, and they made it. So the choice really is up to us of what we want to do. And those are the things that I want to go in and talk to girls, especially young women who are single parents, and be like, look, single parenting is not an excuse for you not to fulfill your destiny. It just isn't. It just isn't.
Oh, I agree. I mean, everything you were saying, I was like, yes, that's the same thing that I say, because you're right. There's people out there that are much worse off than you, and they don't let things deter them.
Right.
They keep going, they try again, they keep falling. And I think you're probably a lot like me as far as how you've gotten to this point where you actually had some lessons learned through life, and now you're at this point where you're saying, I want to motivate other people because I've done this, and I want to help other people to not have to do it the same way that I did it.
Right, exactly. And the biggest thing for me is I tell people, especially if there's something that you are going after, expect it to be difficult. I don't just expect it to be hard, because then that way when it starts to become hard, it's not like, oh my God, it's so hard. Like, no, you're expecting it to be difficult. But the issue, or not the issue, but the thing of it is, it's not so much that it's going to be hard. It's what do you do when it gets hard? So I had the opportunity of talking to a group of young women, and I was just like, look, everything's not going to be perfect. It's going to be difficult. Some of them were work age, some of them were college age. But I was like, look, if you failed that test, it's okay. Make sure next time you don't learn, figure out what you did to fail it, figure it out, don't fail it the next time. But I was like, the one thing that I want you to keep in your head is every time life throws you challenges, because game on, it's a kind of like, it's a challenge, like you see guys out on the basketball court and they're like, oh, all right, game on. It's a challenge. Most people aren't going to say game on to you and the other person just backs down and be like, that's okay. It's like, if you throw it out there, they're like, oh, okay, you okay. So that's how I like when life throws you balls like that. It's like, okay, game on. Oh, all right, I failed this test this time, game on. It's not going to happen again. Oh, you tried to cheat me out this time, game on. It's not going to happen again. Just like, and when you have those bad days, because you're going to have them, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, everything is all hunky dory. I've cried many times. I cried, just this week. Stuff is hard. Things trying to make ends meet and trying to do them the right way is difficult, but when it gets hard, that's my mantra, game on. Like, life is not, when life tries to throw challenges at me, game on, life, let's go. You're not taking me down like that. You might knock me down for a little bit. And I equate it to being in the boxing ring. You have, even when somebody gets knocked down, the referee gives them 10 seconds to get back up. So when I was younger, when I got knocked down, I would jump right back up. Yeah, okay. Now that I'm getting a little bit older, I might wait the 8 seconds, 9.5. I'm like, I'm good. I got some time, right? Okay, all right. But but the ref is never going to catch me at 10 with me still laying on the floor. I'm getting back up. I might take a little bit longer to get back up. I might just take the rest and be like, hey, I'm going to take this time to rest up. 9.5. Okay, 9 and 7. Oh, 9 3/4. Okay, let me go ahead. But you're not going to catch me on the floor at 10, because I am determined to not go down like that. I'm determined to I'm determined not to just surrender. And I mean, I'm going to go down with a fight, but I'm also going to just get right back up. That's just how it's going to be. So whenever those things become difficult, and yes, life is unfair. Some people get more. Some people don't have to work as hard for things. Okay. Now that we're past that, and you realize that life is unfair, game on. Okay, car broke down. Game on. I'm going to figure out a way to either get a new one or get help to get it fit, whatever it is. Just having that overcoming mentality that no matter what life throws, no matter how hard it gets, and it will get hard, but you won't let it take you down.
You sound so passionate about this motivation. I mean, I feel it. And it's like you said, we were talking, before we interviewed, and we were saying how, we feel we have things in common.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about motivating and inspiring other women. But I hear the passion in your voice. I want to know, what was the most rewarding thing since you've been speaking, you have your book, that someone has come back and told you that you have inspired them to do?
Let's see. The most rewarding. I would have to say when I was talking to the group of girls afterwards, they had emailed and they were just like, I'm inspired to keep trying and to keep going. And it wasn't anything super like, I'm going to go after my doctorate's degree. It wasn't anything super just major, but it was the fact that, because these were girls who were between the ages of 16 and 24. And they're kind of getting like a second chance at life kind of thing, working towards different things like getting their degrees, getting their certificates, just learning like work skills. And it was funny because I got a chance to go in and talk to them, but it was like 8:00 in the morning. And I was like, these girls are not going to want to listen to me because it's 8:00 on a Friday morning and they're 16 to 24-year-olds. Everybody's always on their phone. This is going to be interesting. So by the time I was done talking to them, it kind of blew my mind a little bit, because when I was talking about the whole like game on thing, and I was just like kind of like throwing out scenarios. And that's kind of where I got if you fail your test, game on. If you get fired from this job, game on. If you, whatever, I was just like, whatever it is, whatever life throws at you, just game on. And I just kept telling them, by the end of the day, I was like, if there's only one thing that you remember, I just want you to think, game on, game on, game on. And then all of a sudden at 8:30 in the morning, there was like 116 to 24-year-old girls chanting, game on, game on. And I was like, wait, what just happened? Where did this come from? Like, I wasn't expecting that, but it was like, wow, like I got through to them. That still kind of like softens my heart a little bit, because like these are girls who, they're tired of people giving, they're used to a lot of people, making a lot of promises to them and having promises broken. And so the fact that I was able to, that it resonated with them so much that by the time they walked out of there, they were like, game on, game on, game on, game on. I was like, well, all right, well, game on. But I would say in general, occasionally I would have people, like just the other day, a friend of mine, she was like, I'm starting my own business of doing like meal delivery service. And, I've been watching you and you've just inspired me to do it. And I'm like, really? Okay, cool. And, hey, yes, game on. So I've had like little stories of that here and there, but I haven't had anything that to me was just like super, super like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, like super, super, monumental. But those little things to me meant a lot, because even if it just inspired somebody to just do something small, that's great. And this whole thing came about because I wasn't even really trying to do it. This whole thing came about because back in the day when I was trying out for auditions, I just started writing a blog about this is what happened. And, all right, I'll get back to you next week. And there was a couple of weeks that for whatever reason, I didn't write because I didn't think anybody was paying attention. I didn't think anybody was reading it, whatever. So I skipped a week and people were like, when is the next blog coming out? We want to see what you're talking about. I was like, what? I was so surprised that people were actually reading it and getting inspired and like, oh, you've inspired me to do little things. I don't know. You've inspired me to get back starting working out. You've inspired me. I was like, really? really? I was like, oh, okay. Cause I didn't know I was doing that. I just thought I was just being me, just working out, doing what I do, and that's it. But come to find out that me being me was giving people permission for them to go after their dreams or just to make small changes in their life just because I am myself. Man, that's exhilarating. And it's also just another um another validation and a reminder of why it's so important for us to be who we are and not try to be a carbon copy of somebody else or try to be somebody else, because we are created uniquely and in such a way that we're going to affect people who we resonate with. But if we're so busy trying to be somebody else, we're losing that. We're losing people. We're losing out on who we can inspire in a way to get them to go after whatever it is they're trying to do. It could be something as small as, like I'm gonna, reorganize the closet. Anything, but if it's gonna help somebody if it's gonna help make somebody's life a little bit better, and I did that just by me being who I am, then man, that's phenomenal and powerful. And I don't take that lightly. And I take, I take full responsibility in making sure that I am 1,000% myself, because it could unlock the destiny for somebody else. I mean, that's exhilarating in itself.
Oh, amen. I mean, I'm just sitting here shaking my head because I full-heartedly believe that just being your authentic self,
Yes.
like the slang is like, well, you do you, boo.
Right.
Exactly. You do you, boo. You do you, I do me.
Exactly. And, one of the challenges that I had was because, again, when I started this journey, I already kind of started on the older side. I think my first audition I went to, I was 27. Most of these girls, they start auditioning and they're like 18 to 22. So I had already walked in the room on my very first try at 27. So then I made my first team at 32. And I'm still auditioning. I'm still at it. And people, will give me slack about it. They're like, Nicole, you're so smart, and you have so much more to offer to this world. Why are you wasting your talent on this youthful goal? That's for those young kids and this and that. And I'm like, but you have no idea. Number one, I'm having the opportunity to talk and influence girls who everybody else doesn't want to talk to because they think they're young and dumb. These girls are not dumb. They are studying to be doctors, lawyers, nurses. I mean, they are in PR. They're working media. There's a lot of women that you see on the newscasters, especially the sportscasters, who were professional cheerleaders before, because they learn how to handle themselves. They learn how to talk. They learn how to communicate with people. So, oh man, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Let me think. What was I talking about? Oh yes. Okay. Yes, I got it. So now I am 43 years old, and I am literally in the room with girls who are half my age. I will be 44 in March. So by the time the next audition comes, I will be 44. There will be girls in the room who are 22, literally half my age. And I'm like, you know what? My goal is to keep up with them, and I'm going to go after it. And so the whole you're going after these young things. Oh yeah, I'm getting it back now. So number one, it was like that whole influence in terms of I have the opportunity to encourage them and talk to them, because now I'm bringing age into the picture. So they're talking about stuff from a 20-year-old, 22-year-old perspective, and I can bring in life experience and just drop little nuggets here and there, and they have no idea. Secondly, because you have to be in tip-top shape, I love audition season because they require you to stand before them in with your best self, meaning your hair is done, your makeup is done, your fitness is on point, you're taking care of yourself, you know how to speak. So it encourages me because I'm not going to go out there at no audition and be looking crazy against these 22-year-olds. So when I walk out there, I want people to be like, oh, and it happens all the time. It's great. And I'm not saying this because of me, because I just try to blend in. My goal is when I go to the audition, I don't want people to be like, oh, look, that's the 44-year-old. Like, I don't want them to be able to point me out. Mm-hmm. So it encourages me to stay running and getting my sit-ups in and getting my push-ups in and eating the correctly and all of these things. And that's like, it's such a double reward, because I really believe in taking care of ourselves and being healthy, because for me, my personal belief is, even though we have the freedom to do whatever we want with our bodies, if we do whatever we want with our bodies, it's being selfish, because when we're the ones who end up in the hospital because we didn't take care of ourselves, the burden falls on the people who love us. And I don't want to be that burden to the people in my life who love me, if it's something that I could have prevented. So if me eating a cheeseburger every day landed me in a hospital, then I feel like that's unfair to the people who love me, to have done that. So I take care of myself because I don't want to burden those who are around me. And I want to be here. I have a daughter. I want to be here healthy for her. I want to see her, get married and have kids. And if she's listening, at least in 10 years, please. I don't want to be that burden to her. So it's a double win for me. I take care of myself because I'm going to walk in there and be like 44 and fabulous. Y'all wish you looked this good at my age. But then on the other hand, it encourages me, because I got to tell you, it's a lot easier to put that brownie down when you have to get in that outfit than if nobody's going to be looking. So what difference does it make? It's a lot easier to put that brownie down, or at least a third brownie down. But it gives you that little encouragement, that little nudge of, I have something to work towards, because I'm very much a goal-oriented person. So it just makes the eating healthier. I just want some rice and beans and something, or eat the salad. It's that little thing that just comes back in my mind, like, you got that audition. Okay, I'll eat the salad. And it ends up being the better choice anyway. I end up feeling better. My skin ends up better because I'm drinking more water. Just all of these things. So when people say things like that, and I say this in terms of whatever it is, whatever your particular dream is, because you're going to have haters, you're going to have people who are going to come against it. But if it is that still small voice that is deep down inside, and every time you try to push it away, it still just keeps coming back. Maybe you're supposed to be a chef. Maybe you're supposed to be, I don't know, an astronaut. I don't know, whatever it is. And maybe now you're in your 30s and your 40s, and people are, because for whatever reason, society has this thing that, like, after you hit 35, your life is over. Like, I read some article, like the lady who wrote all the Harry Potter books. They were like, she didn't write her first best-selling book until she was 32. I was like, 32? 30, she's still a child. 32. They make it sound like 32 is so old. I'm like, I don't understand why. It's like, if you're not in your 20s, you're just old and you can't do anything, and I'm just like, whatever. So like I said, I made my first team at 32. I made subsequent teams after that. And then the last team I made, I was 42. So 10 years later. So I just want to encourage people, when they come at you with that, especially if it's something that you're supposed to be doing, you just be like, okay, well, thank you. And then you just know that that's a person that you don't share your life, that aspect of your life with, because they don't deserve to be in there. Especially if you know that it's going to change other people's lives, and it makes you happy and you are passionate about it. You are going to have people that come against you, because I have people all the time. They gave me that stank face. They gave me the look like, why are you trying to be? And I'm like, well, it makes me happy. And if that's not an okay enough answer for you, then I don't know what to tell you. And usually people who are not really happy with themselves are the first to quick to judge whatever it is you're doing.
Ooh, yes.
And it's like, well, what are you doing? You sitting home binge watching. I might, I'm out here encouraging people, getting healthy. Great. And then they'll be like, oh, well, there's no need for you to be running around in, that two-piece outfit and this and that. Granted, because I'm a very modest person. So it is a little bit difficult for me to go out in a uniform. But my whole thing is like, if I do have to go out in the uniform, I'm going to look good in it. But then I also, like I said, I live in Miami, right? So a lot of the stuff that I see on the beach, I'm like fully clothed in the uniform. So I'm like, I'm good. I'm wearing more clothes than half the people in Miami. So, there's no judgment there. But that's the thing. Like I want to tell people that, a lot of the things that I had the opportunity to do, I didn't even get a chance to start until I was a little bit older. Really after my daughter went off to college, because I was so focused on making sure that she got off on a good start and got to where she was going, that, like I said, I've been wanting to write the book. I finally wrote the book. So now at 42, crazy, 42, 43, I lose count, but I'm somewhere in there. I'm an author. Like, who would have thought? If 5 years ago, if we were having this conversation, I would have never been like, hey, I have a book and I have an opportunity to be a motivational speaker and coaching people, helping them to learn how to make plans and see them come to pass. Because one of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of people will make a plan, but how they plan can make or break them, and they don't realize it. And then they're like, oh, well, making plans doesn't work. I've tried it before and it just doesn't work. And then you go back and you ask them, well, how did you go about it? And you're like, oh, well, because you sabotaged yourself from the beginning, because you built in your plan in such a way that it wasn't even attainable. So then when you failed, you were like, see? So I work with people. And so it's just this, it's been an amazing ride. So now that's the other thing that it led to, is that I coach people on how they're making their plan. It's not just so much about just making the plan, it's how you're doing it. Because if it was really the case, then everybody, because it's January 24th. Maybe I shouldn't have said the date because it's airing in March. But, it's this time of year, and how many people have already failed on their New Year's resolutions? It's not the goal. It's the plan of attaining the goal, where people, they leave holes in the planning process. So I come in and I show them, hey, adjust this or tweak this. And then I'm their coach, or their personal cheerleader. I check in with them. How's it going this week? Did you make it? Okay. If not, don't worry about it. We're going to try again next week. And just giving them small tasks to achieve each week. And then we just stay on track until they see the goal come to pass. So much has come out of this, and I can't. It's just so hard to just even to understand where all of this came from and how it all. And this all just came from, hey, I want to, a long time ago, just seeing that girl on the sidelines has led to the opportunity to write a book and encourage girls and coach people to seeing their dreams come to pass. It's been a rush and a whirlwind, and I'm just super excited about it, and don't even know how it all happened.
That's amazing, because that's usually how things happen when you really have a passion and it's your purpose. It just happens and you don't know how it happens.
And one of the things that I've learned that was kind of scary is, especially when it came to writing the book, and I was like, man, well, what if nobody will read it? Or how am I going to pay to make it happen? Let me tell you, depending on how you are, if you believe in God, or you believe in how the universe works, or just all of those things, all I have to say is, when you take that first step, it's like the universe just aligns. All of a sudden, people will just be coming out of woodworks, and random things will be happening. And I just have to share this one story in terms of writing the book, because I was like, okay, I'm going to write this book. It's something that I want to do. I'm not really sure how I'm going to pay for all of this stuff to get done, but I'm just going to step out on faith and just believe that it's going to happen. So I was able to put the first couple of payments on my credit card, but I didn't want to put all of them on my credit card, because I didn't want my credit card to get maxed out, because you still have to pay that off. And I had like half of the balance paid. And when it came time for the remainder of the balance, even if I wanted to put it on my credit card, I didn't have enough. So what happened was, and this was literally about a year later. So I had started writing the book about a year before I started writing the book. The person who I was dating, love of my life, he passed away from cancer. And so I fast forward a year later, they were finally doing all of the closing outs of his assets and the documents and just, all the things that have to be like getting all of the affairs in order after everything was done. And literally a year from when when I needed to come up with that final payment, I got a check in the mail. And I was like, what is this? Very unexpected. I had no idea because this was all a result of a year prior, because he had already been gone for just about a year. I get a check in the mail, and it's literally it's money that he had left to me that I didn't know. And it literally covered the exact remaining balance of what I needed to finish the book. I mean, every time I tell this, I'm surprised I didn't break down. This is, I think, the first time I've ever told it, and I haven't been like boo-hooing crying. But these things happen. It's just when you step out and you take that, it's the whole thing literally with the GPS, right? The GPS cannot tell you where to go until you are moving. If you are not moving, it doesn't say anything. It might say, except for when you first start, because it's a little annoying. But once you start walking, then it'll say turn right. But if you're not doing anything, it does not give you direction until you move. And you don't move until you have put an end goal of where you are trying to go. So whatever that goal is, like I said, if it's, you want to be a chef, you want to be a nurse, it could be, maybe you want to buy your first house. Maybe you want to build a house. Maybe you want to go back to school for something. Just whatever it is, just start taking those first steps of faith, and things will just start to fall in place. And I don't necessarily mean, go like rack up $1,000 on your credit card. That's not what I'm talking about. It could be even just something as small as just go to the website of the school and start researching classes on what you need to do in order to get your degree, and things will just start coming. I mean, I can't even explain it. People have come into my life who I would have never had ever crossed paths with. But it was all because one day I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm just going to start walking. And it just started coming together.
That was nothing but God. I'm spiritual, so I believe.
Yes, 100%, girl. 100%. That was completely God.
I believe, and I so agree with you, because just like this podcast and speaking, I was the same way you were. I was like, is anyone going to listen? I'm not anybody famous. I don't have a book. I don't have this. I don't have that. And something just kept telling me, just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
And that's what you're right. You just have to make the first step, and he'll make the next one for you.
Yes. He'll make like the next 10.
Oh yeah.
You just take that first step, and it's amazing. And on the front of my book, I have a maze, and there's an arrow going through it, and it's like right, left, right, left, right, because life isn't always necessarily a straight line to that path, but there's turns and twists and things where it may look like you're even going backwards, but it's what you needed, or maybe you're avoiding something, or maybe there was somebody that you needed to meet along the way, and that's why you had to go in that direction, and it looked like it was a setback, but it really wasn't. It was where you needed to be to influence somebody else to get to the next place of where you're going to go, because it's not always a straight line. It's, sometimes it's guiding and directing you in different directions, and it can feel like roadblocks, and it can feel frustrating, but just knowing that you are going towards that end goal, just keep trucking, keep pressing, just keep moving forward, because it will work out.
Oh man, we could talk all night.
Right?
And I know you got stuff to do. I have stuff to do. So I'm going to segue into my 10 questions that I ask.
That sounds good.
Every guest. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Who or what motivates you?
My daughter motivates me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What demotivates you?
Is excuses an okay answer?
Oh, no judgment here. It's whatever you want to say.
Demotivate. Yeah, I would just say, like negative people in my life, and people who will throw up excuses. Excuses just bug the crap out of me, because I would rather you just be honest with me, or even honest with yourself, than give me an excuse. Because, like, for instance, if somebody says, oh, well, I don't have enough time. And I'm like, well, don't watch 30 minutes of TV. Oh, but this, and oh, but that. And like, no. Okay. So you do have the time. You just choose not to want to put it to use for something else. And that's okay. But be honest. Don't say you don't have time. Say you're choosing not to. And that's okay, because I can respect that. But when I try to help you and you give me every excuse in the book, that means you don't really want it. And that's okay. I'd rather you just say, you know what? I don't really want it. Then we could just, part ways, and nobody's wasting each other's time. That drives me nuts.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, like I said, it's all about you. No judgment. I'm not looking for anything in particular. Okay. When was a time that something was said or done to hurt you, but it worked for your good?
I would say there was somebody in my family who was like that whole youthful, like, why are you going after these youthful things? And it just, I actually ended up using it to motivate me.
Okay. What is your fear?
Failure.
Okay. Is there a time when you wish you had done something that you didn't?
I would say, like, I can't think of anything, one specific thing, but like in general, I've thought about this in terms of, like, if I've had an opportunity to bless somebody or do something for somebody, and I talked myself out of it and didn't do it, and then later on would see that I shouldn't have passed up on the opportunity.
Okay. Is there a time when you wish you had not done something?
These are hard. Let me see. I would say some relationships that I had been in the past that I would wish that I hadn't. But then that's kind of hard, because I learned so much from it, and I'm the person I am today because of that. So maybe that's not a good answer. I don't know, because I think in everything that we do, even if we make mistakes and it's something that we didn't do, I think you become a stronger person because you learn from it. So that's a hard one. I don't know.
Okay. What is your definition of success?
My definition of success is being able to take care of myself, like, especially financially, and not having to rely on parents or a man or anything like that, only solely relying on God to be able to meet my needs and take care of everything. And the biggest part of that, honestly would be being able to sleep peacefully at night with the decisions that I've made.
Okay. How do you recharge?
So I kind of follow along the lines of Seventh-day Adventists and Judaism. So basically, I keep the Sabbath, I keep Shabbat. So from Friday night to Saturday night, I don't do anything work related, either from my 9 to 5 or my book or anything like that. And it is strictly for spending time with family, loved ones, spending time in the Word, just recharging spiritually, talking to God, that whole kind of thing. That whole 24-hour period is spent for that. And that is what, and I tell people, people will ask me to work. I'll be like, nope. Do you want to go do this? Nope. That is my time to absolutely just shut off anything that is work related. And if it's not about spending time with family or spending time with God, then the answer is no.
Okay. What are you awesome at?
What am I awesome at? I think I am awesome at being consistent and encouraging people. That's why, like, with my whole company, like I tell people, like, I'm literally a cheerleader, but I'm also like your personal cheerleader, because I am really good at cheering people on.
Okay. All right. What legacy do you want to leave?
The legacy that I want to leave is that I was a person who never gave up. And because of that, it provided opportunities for other people to walk in their purpose. So I guess essentially, I want my legacy to be creating the capability for other people to walk in who they're supposed to be.
Okay. So, Nicole, tell the listeners or give the listeners one motivational takeaway.
One motivational takeaway. Resilience is vital. You have to be able to bounce back up. I don't know. You remember back in the day? I don't think I've seen them these days, but those little like punch bags, like you would punch them and they would fall over and then they'd pop back up, and then you'd punch them and then it'd fall over and back, and just, they would just keep coming back up. No matter how hard you punch, it would still just pop back up.
Mm-hmm.
I would say resilience is vital. You have to have that will to survive and the will to make it.
Okay. Well, tell the listeners where they can find you, all your social media platforms and anything else you want the listeners to know.
Well, okay. So on Facebook, you can find me at Game On Author. And then on Instagram and Twitter, you can find me at Game Day Prep 365. And they can find my website. My website is gamedayprep365.com. And if you go onto my page at Game On Author on what's it called? On Facebook, you can download the first 3 chapters of the book for free. If you just go on and there's like a sign up or sign in, if you just put in your information, and it'll allow you to download the first 3 chapters of the book for free. And if you email me directly, I will send you the Game On workbook, which is teaching you how to plan effectively, not just plan, but planning effectively. And I would love to just give that to you as a free gift, to be able to see if, we can have the 2019 end differently than 2018 and really see the goals or get you on the way, on the path to seeing your goals come to pass.
Okay, Nicole. Well, that is very generous of you. And I'll also put something on my website as well. But I really enjoyed speaking with you, and I thank you for your time. And we'll be in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This was so great. Just thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for trusting me with your time and space, because I know that, you have to, you don't put just anybody on your stuff. So the fact that you thought I was deemed worthy, I appreciate that. And I thank you for trusting me with your listeners. I don't take that lightly. So I appreciate it. And I also thank you for your time. It's been a lot of fun. And I'm sure this will not be the last time we're talking.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a speaker for your live event or conference, go to my website and read my bio and contact me at bit.ly/book Trina. I hope you have a great week. Until then, remember, if you change your mindset, you'll change your life. Keep striving. Success is a journey, not a destination. You can listen to Trina Talk anytime and anywhere. It's available on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Spotify, and all other places that you can listen to podcasts. If you like the podcast, please don't forget to go to iTunes to subscribe, rate, review, and share. If you have questions for me or need inspiration on how to go to the next level, tweet me directly at Trina L. Martin.